Alright, so today I want to talk about a story out of the Daily Mail, and it's titled Black Lives Matter Removes Page Encouraging the Disruption of the Western Nuclear Family During a Massive Cleanup of their national website. Now, um, why they're doing this, I mean, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, and I think most people would probably agree, is the support for Black Lives Matter has consistently been going down ever since I mean, right after George Floyd, it spiked, it went up, but ever since then, ever since the rioting, basically, it's consistently gone down, and it is now, I think it's like 5, 6, 7% lower than at the time of George Floyd. So since George Floyd, it has went down. And I think that people have started to recognize this kind of stuff. And this is one of the main reasons that, again, if you actually support, and here's the thing, I've mentioned it many times, but I know I always have to do it because if I don't, people, get all up in arms, is that the concept of Black Lives Matter, the idea of Black Lives Matter is a good thing, right? Like people should be treated equally. Um, the problem is that the group and the leaders of Black Lives Matter and the ideas that are being pushed by the organization are absolutely insane and should not be accepted whatsoever, right? So there's a pretty big difference there, and this is the problem whenever you point this kind of stuff out to the more laymen or the supporters, is that what they do is that they either deliberately misinterpret what you're saying, or they intentionally, just straw man you basically, and that they say, oh, if you disagree with Black Lives Matter, that must mean you're a racist, right? It's the same thing with Antifa, the argument, this stupid argument they try to make, oh, if Antifa means anti-fascist, and if you disagree with them, you're a fascist. No, that's number one, it doesn't matter what you call yourselves, and number two, that's just a total straw man, right? So yeah, that's the first thing to point out. But again, the reason why they're doing this, I believe, is um, anybody with half a brain doesn't want to disrupt the Western nuclear family. Now, there is a pretty good percentage of people that do. I would guess probably 20, 30% of people do want to do this, but it's definitely a pretty clear majority that don't want to. Now, why is that? Because the traditional nuclear family is where success is held. The main reason that blacks are held back in the States and in Canada is not racism. I mean, there's no evidence that points to that. And it's like I always say, does that mean racism doesn't exist? No, racism does exist to some degree. It's just not nearly as bad as what BLM would have you think. And the numbers clearly bear that out. And I mean, if you look at the crime numbers, if you look at just the basic fact too, that if the police and society were so biased against blacks, then why are the best cases that they can point to of racism clearly not racism, and clearly not even police brutality either? In that you look at George Floyd, the guy died of a drug overdose, the knee on the neck had nothing to do with him dying. And again, people make the argument of, oh, I don't think the knee should have been on the neck. Well, I don't think so either, but that the autopsy said it didn't have an effect on him. There was no major bruising. There was nothing. The medical examiner said if we would have came across this guy in his house or in the streets or whatever, it would have been ruled a drug overdose, no questions asked, right? So again, you look at Jacob Blake. That's about the most obvious case of self-defense and just a violent criminal that is getting what he has coming to him. Again, does that mean he deserved to die? No. But again, if you're a violent criminal, you violently resist arrest, you go for a weapon, um, what do you expect? Like seriously, what do you expect? Like you're going to get killed. Anybody suggesting that the police shouldn't have done that, again, put yourself in their shoes. Like this is the big problem when it comes to the police, is that they never put themselves in their shoes, right? I mean, the same thing goes with Breonna Taylor now. I mean, originally that was a case that looked like it was a genuine example of police misconduct, in that, I mean, more in that it was a no-knock warrant. Was it racism? Absolutely not. But it looked like a no-knock warrant that went wrong. But now we know that it wasn't a no-knock warrant, and we also know that Breonna Taylor was involved in her boyfriend's drug dealing operations. So it's not like she was innocent. And again, does that mean that I mean, I agree, like the drug war should be scaled back, or, even preferably ended, like completely, but at the very least scaled back. But again, that doesn't change the fact that it wasn't racism, it wasn't police brutality, right? So all these BLM narratives have completely collapsed, and anybody with half a brain at this point does not support them, right? Like anybody with half a brain does not support them. Does that mean that, oh, you're an evil race? No, it doesn't mean anything. It means you understand reality. You can not be a racist and not support BLM. I mean, I think it's almost not possible to be the other way around, because you look at a lot of these stringent BLM supporters, a lot of these people are very racist themselves. I mean, look at all these black nationalists that are BLM members. Look at all these BLM members that kill cops for no reason, right? So again, the idea, if anything, it's the other way around, right? Like the everyday BLM supporter probably isn't some radical crazy person, but the people at the top absolutely are pretty radical and pretty crazy. So anyway, in a nutshell, I think this is just them um, wanting to try and improve their image. The problem is that they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because they've already gone off the deep end. And anybody with half a brain, the next time there's a high profile um, police killing of a black person, whether it's justified or not, most people are going to look at it as, hey, I've been lied to so many times, I'm not going to buy into this garbage anymore. And they're going to side with the police, even if the police are in the wrong, right? So that's the problem. Now, BLM is going to side with the black person no matter what. I mean, there was the guy in Pennsylvania that literally ran at the cops with a knife. And the cop tried to avoid it originally, but the guy was faster than him, so the cop had no choice but to kill him. And again, they rioted, they protested, and all this kind of stuff. So again, BLM's made it very clear that they don't care about justice, they don't care about what actually happened. They are going to riot and protest no matter what. It doesn't matter if the guy literally goes on live TV coast to coast saying I'm going to go kill a cop. He goes and brings 10 guns and firing in the air and pointed at the cops. The cops shoot him. According to BLM, that would still be an unjustified shooting, and that's why, again, anybody who still supports him at this point is absolutely and utterly insane. And again, there's really no debate on that anymore. I think you could have maybe debated that, right around George Floyd, but once the rioting started, anybody supporting them is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, and there's no questions about that. So anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, also BitChute and Parler, but mainly Twitter. Those links are in the description, so you can find them there.